If you are the one who always knows exactly what needs to happen, and you have ever suspected that what is slowing you down is not strategy, discipline, or time, that suspicion is accurate. What follows is something your nervous system already knows and has never been given the interface for. This video works with the execution gap. The pain of a woman who can see the distance between knowing what to do and being able to begin. By the end of this, you will understand exactly why that pattern locks and what the Akan people of West Africa documented that speaks directly to it. You sit down at your desk on a Wednesday morning. The calendar has been blocked out. The children are at school. This is the time that you have said you will start, but you cannot begin. You write the first line for your post. You stand up, you sit down. You wander to the kitchen and make a cup of tea. You open your inbox and answer 3 things that did not need to be answered today. You make a list of everything you need to do before you can start the thing you are already supposed to be doing. And here is the part that makes this strange. You have done this work for other people. You have built strategy under deadline pressure for clients, for committees, for institutions whose expectations were not yours. You did not freeze then. The room turned to you and you delivered. In real time. Without hesitation. Today, there is no room, no clients, no deadline. There is only your own commitment to your own work, and your body will not move. This is not procrastination in the traditional sense. Procrastination suggests reluctance, but you know exactly what needs to be done and how important it is that you do it. There is a reason for that, and it is not the reason you have been told. What is happening is a conflict of consent, or more precisely, the absence of consent. The work that is yours requires a movement that only the version of you who is still becoming can construct. The version of you who has been operating up until now, the woman the institution recognized, was not built to make this particular move, and the nervous system will not authorize a movement the existing self has not consented to. When you build for someone else, the movement is endorsed by the identity that already exists. The woman who delivers under pressure is a role your nervous system recognizes as legitimate through years of practice. The consent has already been constructed. When you sit down to your own work, the situation is structurally different. There is no internal or external container. The action is not endorsed by the existing self, because moving forward is in fact a declaration. This is the work of the woman I am becoming. When you start, it is the act of stepping into the new identity publicly. The existing self creates an equal and opposite force in resistance. The freeze is not avoidance. It is not laziness. It is consent being withheld by the structures of the nervous system that have already decided, long before you could speak, which version of the self is safe and which version is not. And these processes fire in the layer far deeper than thought. By the time you become aware of the fact that the whole day has disappeared, you are watching the aftermath. You are not failing at execution. Your nervous system is doing exactly what nervous systems are built to do. It is protecting an identity that has not made the leap. Save this for the mornings that the threshold will not move. In 1690, in colonial Mexico, a nun called Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz wrote a letter that she should not have written. She had entered the convent not from religious vocation, but as a calculation. It was the only institution available to a woman of her intelligence that would give her access to a library. She studied theology, poetry, mathematics, and the natural sciences. She did this inside a tradition that systematically denied women access to intellectual life. When she was finally ordered by the Bishop of Puebla to stop, she wrote her response. And in it, she described the force that had moved her through every threshold the institution had placed before her. From the moment I was first illuminated by the light of reason, my inclination towards letters has been so vehement, so overpowering, that not even the admonitions of others, and I have suffered many, nor my own meditations, and they have not been few, have been sufficient cause to me to forswear this natural impulse. She is not describing courage, she is describing the architecture of unresolved consent. Despite the weight of her own doubts, fears, and the powerful institutions trying to stop her, she forged her way forwards. She did not fight the resistance or override the freeze. She learned to operate from a state where she could hold both and still honor her mission. That is the state the Dwennimmen interfaces with. Not the absence of resistance, the presence of a signal that the resistance cannot override. So where do you start? When the thought of expanding into new territory leaves you frozen, whilst the vision of your dream remains ever distant, most people would tell you discipline and consistency. Whilst these play a part, it is a prefrontal solution to a limbic problem. What you need is a signal. Specifically, a signal that reaches the structures running the consent decision before the decision fires. The Akan people of West Africa documented 500 years of recorded use. They named it for what they observed in nature. 2 rams locked at the horns, force in opposition to force, neither yielding, neither retreating. The Adinkra tradition translates it as strength through humility, the willingness to act despite resistance. Force held in reserve until the threshold is crossed. It is called the Dwennimmen. 2 pairs of ram's horns, mirror symmetric, locked at the center of the form. Each pair of horns held in place by the other. The tension is the geometry. The geometry is the transmission. What follows is the mechanism, not the metaphor, the actual architecture. The Dwennimmen is built from 2 pairs of spiral forms with perfect bilateral symmetry. The brain processes this kind of structured symmetry with less cognitive effort than asymmetry. That ease is registered by the nervous system as a positive signal before any conscious evaluation begins. The visual cortex has done its work before the analytical layer has had time to form an opinion about what it is looking at. The gaze is pulled inward, from the outer arc of each horn to the center point where all 4 converge. This is the ambient to focal transition, the shift from broad scanning to single point fixation. That transition initiates a parasympathetic response through the oculocardiac reflex. The heart rate slows, vigilance drops, the nervous system moves out of scanning posture, not because you understood something, but because the geometry did what it was built to do. Your eye found the center point where the four horns meet. Your nervous system followed. And here is why that matters at the level of your biology. The structures in your brain that process these signals, the amygdala, the insular cortex, are the first to form. The insular cortex, the structure responsible for body state awareness, for the felt sense of aliveness, begins to develop at approximately 6 weeks of gestation. The amygdala, emotional memory, pattern recognition, the architecture of what feels like source, forms in the first trimester. The prefrontal cortex, the analytical layer, the part of you that decides what you think about something, does not fully mature until the mid-20s, which means that when a signal enters your nervous system, it does not wait for your analytical mind to approve it. It has already been processed, already acted upon, before the part of you that doubts has had time to form a single objection. The geometry reaches the structures that formed first, every time. Most execution-building approaches try to install a new behavior at the level of analysis. The willingness to act before the existing self has consented is stored in the room that was built first. The limbic structures that decided long before language whether the threshold was safe to cross. The method and the layer are not matched. That is the structural gap. The symbol reaches the room where the consent decision actually fires. This is also why conventional methods have not held. Habit stacking, productivity systems, discipline frameworks, all of these operate at the prefrontal cortex, which is the last structure to develop, the first to fatigue, and the most easily overridden under the conditions you operate in daily. The methods are not failing because you are undisciplined. They are failing because they are built in the wrong room. The limbic system is the right room. The limbic system does not respond to a written commitment, a printed schedule, a productivity app. It responds to signal. The Dwennimmen is that signal. The symbol becomes a competing signal, not a competing thought. A competing signal at the layer where the consent decision was firing. The geometry does not push you through the threshold. It does something more precise. It interrupts the resistance at the layer where it lives and installs an alternative, a daily, repeated, somatically anchored signal that the new movement is consented to. There are 3 phases. Days 1 through 7. Initial pairing. The symbol and the state begin to associate. Each contact with the geometry, eye to center point, parasympathetic shift. The nervous system is learning a new language. The signal is faint. The pairing is being built. Days 8 through 21. The association deepens. The signal becomes faster, more reliable. The threshold that used to require 15 minutes of stalling begins to require less. The detours start to feel less necessary because the underlying tension is being addressed. Day 22 onward. Autonomous activation. The geometry produces the state without effort. You sit down. Your eye finds the center point, where the four horns meet. Your nervous system moves out of scanning posture before the consent decision has had time to fire as denial. You begin the work. The willingness to act before momentum exists. Precognitive forward movement. That is what is being installed. Not motivation or discipline. The capacity to make the movement that the new self requires. Not decoration, technology. There is a state on the other side of this loop, and this is what it looks like. This time, when you sit down on a Wednesday morning, the dread of pushing against rising resistance is gone. The desk looks the same. The work is the same. But now the full force of your intellect and years of accumulated skill can be directed towards what you are building, not without resistance, but in spite of it. You are no longer frozen. And so, like Juana in 1690, resistance and momentum can coexist until you are ready to leap. Execution was never the problem. It was always there. The signal was covered by an existing self that had not yet consented to the woman you are becoming. The Dwennimmen interrupts that interference and gives the new movement somewhere to land. If your work needs a new signal, find the link to the symbol index in the description below. Ancient intelligence, sovereign mind,